Alright, motherfuckers. Here we go. What's up? What's happening here? Oh my gosh. Thanks for the lurk, bestie. Guess we're jumping over here then. It's just like I saw that everyone was online and I was like, I'm playing games anyway. And if bestie's going offline, I could steal her audience. So welcome. Welcome everybody. Reggie is also playing Once Human. Ego couldn't handle Bestie getting all the love. Exactly. Exactly.
He's trying to provoke me here? Or?
Oh my gosh, everyone. Oh, Jesus. Yeah. Everyone's
Sean the non-believer.
Sean. Jesus. Now we're getting there.
Baka.
Welcome to All Things Scottish. Our slogan is, if it's no
Welcome
Scottish, it's
to
crap!
the stream, everyone, to the total fucking chaos that is this stream. Alright, we're gonna summon my Dr. Teddy. I'm not good at this game. But I saw that Nobles is playing as well. We might give him a knockaroo. I'm just gonna finish this shit. No one tell him, but I did that.
Hello everyone, welcome to this crazy stream. Today, we're going to be playing Once Human. Please enjoy as the crazy man on the screen runs around.
As the crazy man on the screen runs around. Thanks, I guess. Oh shit, right. Alright, so we're gonna use this big ass gun. Come here, Captain Dave II. Gonna use IMX Gamer enemy secrets will always be contained. Wow, really? You're not gonna snitch even a little bit? Come on, you should. You can't read the messages in parentheses. Alright, I can't read it, the messages in parentheses. I'm sorry for pretending I could. Ah! Pulse! I really don't like this Dave character. Hello, F? I'm live now with face and everything so they can see you.
Oh, so I should put clothes on?
I mean, no, you don't
Why are
have
you
to.
not wearing pants?
Fuck it.
I'm so funny.
You are the funniest.
I'm so funny. He is wearing pants, I promise.
What's this? An enemy wowie? Kiss wife?
Hello, String.
Hello, Strike.
Xgamer2546 asked me, what this AI, Inimi, Wowie? Yeah, it's me, the swearing
is Once
AI,
Human.
ready to dish out some insults and sprinkle some profanity like it's confetti. You're in for a treat, you lucky bleep.
Enemy recently made a text-to-speech with his own voice.
Okay.
And now he's coded an AI to be like an AI that you can ask things. And you can ask the AI something and enemy will answer in his voice. And he coded it to be a sassy bitch as well.
Oh, nice.
It is kind of fun. It is kind of fun. Worth the points. Need to make sure the lady is taken care of, right? It's very true.
Inimized asked me, Ray, yeah, I want you to say hello to the streamer's wife. Hey there, streamer's better half. What's
Hey
up
there,
with
streamer's
being
better half.
married
What's up with
to
being married
this
to this legendary bleep?
Hope they're
Hope
treating
they're
you
treating
right,
you
or
right,
I'll have to toss a few
insults
insults their way. Keep rocking it.
Rocking it. Yeah.
Thank you. I actually have a very big presentation for politicians tomorrow. So thank you.
Salutations to Mauro.
Big presentations for all of the big politicians.
The censorship.
Well,
Oh, why is it lagging now? No. Alright, we're gonna run
but
in here.
you said the voice was enemy's voice, but as a woman? What? No.
No, it's sassy.
Yeah.
Like, you can be sassy and not be a woman, though.
Oh, so it's not a female voice, it is enemy's voice.
It is enemy's voice. Hey, Mr. Morris, thanks for the sub.
Inimized asked me, swear
You
you
did
bitch,
get your
you a
haiku, I
poo-poo,
read it to you and
insult me.
everything.
Oh, look at you, trying to play with the big bad AI.
Like,
You
you never
adorable
remember
little
anything I did
bleep
for you,
stain,
dude.
trying to keep up with the insults. You couldn't insult your way out of a paper bag, you wimp. Go on, keep practicing.
So laggy.
Maybe one day you'll climb out of the kiddie pool and
Not
make it to the
entirely
big
sure.
leagues.
Space-time to probe hidden. Alright. It's one of these. Oh, jeez, it's laggy. We're gonna see here. Maybe I
You
won't
know,
be
XGamer
streaming
2546 asked me, hello,
Oh, is
do you
that a
think
person?
eating a rock
Yeah.
every day is good for you? What the bleep are you on about
Jesus,
eating
I was
rocks?
finally able
You
to use
trying to
my prime.
become
Thanks,
a bleep
man.
mountain or something? Get a grip and maybe snack on something that won't break your teeth, you
this.
lovable
Do you think eating
bleep
a rock every day is good for you? The bot is
knucklehead.
just not having it.
Stick to food, not geology.
Stick to food, not geology. Where are these paradox things then?
Ah, thank you, Soldred. That's a nice.
Good luck, wife. I know you're going to rock their socks off. She is. She's gonna do so well.
I have to convince them
Oh,
to
yes.
accept my things.
I mean, you always convince me to accept your things, so.
Bother.
Bother.
Is this a tasty treat? Looks like a tasty treat. Smells like a tasty treat. Tastes like a tasty treat.
Oh my gosh, I'm not a tasty treat though.
You're a tasty treat.
I am a husband.
Miss Frankenstein asked me, what is the rudest insult you can come up with?
Frankenstein
Oh, you're
asked what
really
is the
testing my
rudest insult
boundaries,
you
huh?
can come up
Alright,
with?
here goes. You're the
Who?
kind of bleep
The
who'd
bot?
trip over a wireless connection and blame the internet for your lack of brains. A real
Nice.
walking disaster piece.
Frankenstein
She
doing the
chose
real shit.
saki disaster
Asking the
Barely
important questions.
scrapey asitom per
I love
in
Blame
by
the internet
bathing
for your
reeds.
lack of
She chore.
brains,
Rounds her
really.
weeks creeping by on the crumbs of
I'm gonna
common
go read
sense.
some.
How's that
Go
for you,
read
you
smut,
cheeky
wife.
bleep?
Bye-bye. Have fun.
Take it in and maybe learn a thing or two.
So much going on. Oh my gosh, boobs. Nice. Why is it bleeping? Oh, who knows, man. Where's the thing? Oh, you nobles! This is not my child. My child swears. Dang, it's laggy.
Mike Smay, XGamer2546, asked me, hey, what'd you think about the streamer having 24 Ren 28 push-up debt and then turning off the debt must be paid readem? Oh, what a cheeky little move. Classic streamer shenanigans. Dodging those push-ups like they're made of lava. 2428 push-ups is a hell of a debt. And turning off the redeem, that's a pro-level dodge right there. Like tossing a grenade and running the other way. Guess they're more
Pro-level
into gaming
dodge.
than getting ripped. Those
Alright.
sneaky bleep.
I don't know where to go. I'm annoyed. I haven't turned on the push-up redeem again. Adjust settings? Okay, how am I gonna adjust settings? I have it on ultra performance. Adjust the super resolution settings to enhance game details and smooth out gameplay. I have to take my walk. Go take a walk, man. Oh my gosh. Yeah, this game is too laggy for me to stream, so we're probably gonna jump over into something else. Oh my gosh, you know what we could do? We could try out Stoney's Torture Pack for Repo. That's something we could do. Ooh, Stellar Stairway. Exit game. Very well done, next gamer. This is a really nice song as well. Oh shit, right, we can start up MicroStream RPG. Ah ha ha! There we go! Now y'all can play as well. What am I jumping over into though? I kinda wanna go for Generation Zero, but we're gonna deal with some Repo instead. Let's see here, VIP Lounge. Gotta give me a minute here. Thunderstore. Tavern game, that was chillin' nice. Oh my gosh, the tavern game. Alien Tail Tavern is really nice. Back to game selection. Select game. Select profile. Get mods. Search. Change profile. Create new profile. Torture. Create. Import from code. There we go. Import. Are you updating the system profile or creating a new one? Update the system profile. Update torture profile. Alright. I haven't seen you play Valheim in a while. I haven't played Valheim in a while either. Actually. Let's go. Let me show y'all what you can do here as well. We're gonna turn off the main screen. There we go. Repo is launching via Steam. I haven't played Valheim in forever. This is very true. Good with that. We're gonna change the stream info to Repo. There we go. We're gonna see if this actually works, or if my computer is going to give me shit for doing all this. Alright, we're gonna do a private game. Wait, no, single player. Let's go. I've never played this mod pack before. I'm gonna merge plus 18 Kermit AI and enemy sass. What the fuck?
Spawned. Peeper despawned. Trudge despawned. Mentalist despawned.
Ouchies.
Rugrat despawned. Bowtie despawned. Chef despawned.
What the fuck?
Chef despawned. Rugrat despawned. Animal despawned. Mentalist despawned. Animal despawned.
Oh shit.
Skewer despawned. Skewer despawned. Skewer despawned. Skewer despawned. Duck
The fuck
despawned.
is this? The fuck is
Nearby.
this?
Mentalist nearby. Rugrat nearby. Animal nearby. Mentalist nearby. Animal nearby. Skewer nearby. Skewer nearby.
The
Skewer
fuck?
nearby. Headman nearby.
Oh no no no
Bowtie
no!
nearby. Rugrat nearby. Trudge nearby.
Oh come on!
Chef nearby.
No don't!
Chef nearby. Headman left. Duck respawn.
Oh come on!
Skewer
Fuck
respawn.
off!
Chef left.
Where's my gun?
Upstream left. Animal
jeez.
left. Duck nearby. Chef left. Mentalist died. Duck left. Animal nearby. Skewer died. Chef nearby.
Where the fuck is my
Skewer
gun?
nearby. Skewer
Oh my
died.
gosh.
Chef died. Rugrat died. Mentalist died.
Where did my
Headman
gun go?
despawned.
Fuck off.
Skewer died.
Jesus
Rugrat
Christ.
died. Trudge died. Animal died.
Yeah, I
Duck
don't know what
nearby.
happened. What's
Duck
happening?
left. Upscream nearby. Skewer left. Skewer
Oh,
nearby.
come on! No,
Bowtie
no, no!
left.
Minimized
Upstream
asked
left.
me, should you eat
Duck
rocks?
nearby.
Of course not. You absolute
Skewer
lunatic.
left.
Want to snap your
Skewer
teeth like a twig,
despawned.
huh? Rocks aren't part of a balanced
Duck
breakfast
nearby.
unless you're a goddamn
Ouchies,
grapple
ouchies,
dozen
ouchies,
later.
ouchies,
Stick to
ouchies.
food that won't turn your guts into
It's too much.
construction
It's
site.
too much. Just
Headman
Suck me
respawned.
deep.
Animal left.
Есть паио. Just as tight. Цайди, сази калпо. Ялда риши или чиве.
What the fuck is happening with
the
the thing?
The plom year Larrabee spell. Leave the rocks for the mountains and get yourself a sandwich or something sensible.
Upstream nearby. Upstream left.
The fuck? Oh my gosh.
Animal nearby.
What is this even?
Headman nearby.
Headman nearby? Alright. I've killed so many baddies, but I haven't gotten a single one of their...
Bowtie nearby. Upscream nearby.
Alright. Oh, come on! How did I not hit it?
Upstream died.
Ouchies, ouchies, ouchies. Come on, don't, stop hurting me. For fuck's sake. Oh, come on, a peeper. Well. Oh, come on, still? Get fucked, bro.
Peeper despawned.
Balls! Yeah, I'm never gonna survive this. I'm just gonna die. Wait, okay. I can dodge him?
We live in Horny
Oh, fuck's
Jail.
sake.
You can't send us there. We've got the keys.
Inimized asked me, what do you think about the streamer dodging their responsibility to do push-ups?
Hey,
Oh,
Karoo.
that cheeky bastards
How is
dodging
it?
push-ups like they're
How
allergic
are
to
ya?
exercise. Talk about commitment issues.
Oh
huh?
my
They've
gosh.
perfected the art of weaseling out of it like
Talk to commitment issues.
slippery eel covered in baby
Big
oil.
for the bids, yo.
I bet they're sitting on a comfy
Go get right
comfy
fast,
throne
soul.
of
Rugrat
lies with
nearby.
an army of
Chef
unfulfilled
nearby.
push-up promises
Chef
marching away.
nearby.
Maybe they should start a
Huntsman
sitcom.
nearby.
Who needs Messington from
Clown nearby. Mentalist nearby. Level enemy.
Oh, come on. No, no, no.
Clown. 4. Spewers. Huntsman. Animal. 2.
Where's my gun?
Rugrats. 6. Bangers. 3 chefs, mentalists, upstream, 8
Jesus.
gnomes,
Alright.
3 ducks, chef
3
left,
ducks.
clown died, mentalist left,
Oh,
chef
come on.
died,
Really?
duck nearby, rugrat left, duck left, chef nearby, skewer died,
Oh, come on.
huntsman died,
Alright.
duck nearby,
I
chef
should be
left,
able to survive this. Should be able to survive this.
duck nearby,
Alright.
duck left,
Yeah, no, it talks a lot more than I do.
chef nearby, chef died, upstream nearby, duck died, mentalist nearby, spewer nearby, animal
gosh.
died, rugrat nearby, upstream died, spewer,
Oh my fuck off!
mentalist died,
Alright, we're gonna try to get the bangers away from there.
chef nearby,
Alright, ouchies, ouchies, ouchies. I have a vacation and big headache still. How's you? Ow, come on.
chef left, duck nearby,
Chef left.
spewer
I'm
nearby,
gonna murder this baby. Hey, baby. How about a little abortion?
rugrat left, spewer died, rugrat nearby, duck nearby, duck left, duck died, rugrat died, duck died,
Alright. Oh, for fuck's sake. I'm too fast. Jesus. Alright. We're just gonna load it up with these souls. Oh, fuck off! Come on! No, come on! Come on! No! Don't! Fucking gnomes! That's too many! That's too many! What the fuck? No! I was killed by gnomes. I was fucking killed by gnomes. You see where you need the gun now? Yeah, but I mean, the gun just gets knocked out of my hand all the time. Busy adulting. Womp womp. Fuck you. Womp womp. It's a fun mod, though. I gotta get it used out here. Stronghold?
duck nearby,
I mean, it's not gonna do much difference to me. No, false.
level enemies,
Optional
Reaper.
donation. Report
2
bugs.
ducks, trudge, 2 animals, bowtie, 2 upscreens, mentalist, 3 bangers, chef, 2 rugrats, 16 gnomes, 3 spewers,
16
duck
gnomes?
died, reaper died,
Fuck off with that shit. I'm so fast.
bowtie nearby,
Too fast, even.
Inimized asked me, what do you think of the streamer? Oh, Darvam? They're quite the character, dodging push-ups
Darvan?
like they're a dance floor, and keeping things
Bowtie
lively
left.
with their antics. It's always a riot when they're around, avoiding those 24-28 push-ups like they're on a mission. Classic. They're all about gaming over getting those muscles, and it seems to work for them. A true entertainer in the making.
Alright. Where's the first, Where's the first extraction? Interesting, I didn't tell it how many push-ups. It must have remembered from X Gamer's prompt. Must have, right? Ah, here it is. Oh wait, that is creepy as fuck, actually. Why is it Minecrafty? We're not playing Minecraft, no. Why can't I open this door? Cooked beef? I mean, can't my thing even go through there?
Duck nearby.
Duck nearby?
Nearby. Duck
I
left.
mean, it's beautiful.
There we
Hello,
go.
Shredhead.
Maelstrom.
Spewer left.
One last time. Your asshole to
Chef
me.
nearby. Animal nearby. Animal died.
Ouchies!
Scream died.
Ouchies. All of my stuff is probably fucked up now as well, right?
Animal left.
Where's my gun, though? There we go.
Chef left. Duck left.
Oh, alright. Those things survived.
Duck nearby.
I was trying to be discreet and lurk. Well, you were not,
Nearby.
but I appreciate you regardless.
Duck died. Animal nearby.
Ah,
Spewer nearby. Spewer nearby.
I believe in Roe v. Wade. Ah, fuck's sake. Ah, fuck's sake. Where's my gun? Where's my gun?
Mentalist died.
Oh, come on! Yeah, what you gonna do? What you gonna do, huh? Ah. Fucking come on! Where's my gun? No, fuck off! Jeez. No! No! Ah, fuck balls! Oh my gosh, finally.
Spewer
Sounds like
despawned.
someone is drowning in that asshole, right? Oh, come on. Really? I want to know the secrets your asshole keeps.
Spewer nearby.
Bend over and spread those cheeks.
Upscream nearby. Upscream left. Upscream nearby. Duck respawned. Spewer left. Upscream died.
There we go. Awesome. Alright. The mod pack is interesting to say the
Trudge
least.
nearby.
Trudge
Duck nearby.
The fuck do you want with that, though?
Reaper respawned.
Alright. Ouchies, ouchies. That's the deal. I'm not going to survive this.
Spewer nearby.
Ah, fuck, 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 fuck. I'm not enjoying the mod pack at all, actually. No, I am enjoying it. It's kind of fun. I just want to do one level. One fucking level. Oh. Oh, no. Goodbye. What the fuck? You can
Child
see
nearby.
on the side
Reaper
here.
nearby.
Rugrat nearby.
9 bangers.
Rugrat
33
nearby.
out of 33
Mentalist
things.
nearby. Upscream nearby. Robe nearby. Rugrat left. Chef nearby. Upstream left. Animal nearby. Duck nearby. Shadow child left. Level enemies. Robe. Shadow child. Reaper. 2. Rugrats. Mentalist.
Yay.
Upstream. 2. Animal. 9. Bangers. Chef. 4. Ducks. 8. Gnomes. 2. Spewers. Rugrat nearby. Duck nearby. Rugrat
Where the
left.
fuck did my gun go?
Upscream nearby. Shadow child nearby. Upscream left. Shadow child left. Animal died. Rugrat left.
Where'd I go?
Rugrat nearby. Chef died. Duck left.
I see
Duck
where you added
left.
the gun.
Spewer nearby. Spewer nearby. Shadow child nearby. Animal died. Reaper died. Rogue died.
Ouchies. Wow. Where's the fucking gun, though? Just give me the gun and I can take care of all this. Where's my fucking gun?
Spewer died. Mentalist left. Spewer died.
Alright, so I got a fuck ton of strength as well. Ah, fuck off!
Duck nearby. Duck nearby. Upscream left. Duck nearby.
I mean... Is that my
Duck
gun over
left.
there?
Duck left.
Oh, fuck off. What, ran right into it? Is that it? I'm terribly sorry.
Duck nearby. Duck nearby.
Alright.
Duck nearby. Duck died. Duck died. Duck died.
Alright. Got a couple ducks here. Couple ducks worth. You do have strength to lift some monsters. Gotcha. Sorry that I'm killing so many ducks, but I mean, at this point, that's how I get the money. Alright, so now I'm gonna definitely start getting greedy as well. That's okay. Alright. Right. Alright. Am I gonna be able to murder everything though? Hatram escaped. Oh no, not the Hatram. Ooh, got fairly good range on the grip as well. That's interesting to know. You get a fuck ton of upgrades real early on, but you also have 33 plus monsters to fight. Interesting, interesting. Right, might have killed all the monsters, or they might have despawned by now. Still gonna loot the fuck out of this place though. Cause like if I can get a ton of money from this, just do one level, I'd be so happy. It would be fun.
Rugrat nearby. Upscream
Rugrat?
nearby.
Oh shit, oh shit, oh shit.
Rugrat left. Mentalist nearby. Mentalist died. Shadow Child nearby.
Acceptable loss there. Oh, come on. Fuck off, Upstream.
Rugrat nearby.
Balls.
Upstream died. Rugrat died.
Yes. Oh. There we go. No, no. You fucking gnomes are not gonna murder me again. Not again. Can't even get a grip on you. Oh my god. It's stressful, Stony. That's what it is. It's a stressful fucking mod pack.
Shadow Child nearby.
Oh yeah, you don't say.
Shadow Child died.
Fuck you, Shadow Child. Oh my gosh. Alright. We got 15k here. Almost 20k, and we got 24k there. We get a fair amount of money. Alright. Exactly, a nice torture mod pack. I mean, it is not a bad mod pack, honestly. You've curated some pretty good mods here, Stony. I'm impressed. And appalled at your fiendishness. If you're more than one player, do you still just have the one infinite ammo gun? Or is it like everyone who starts gets an infinite ammo gun? Because I feel like if you were 2 or more players here, it would be easier. Just like normal repo. It's just one gun only? Dude. That is not enough. $6,000? Alright. Oh, come on, you can do it. You can do it. I believe in you. I'm just kidding, I don't believe in you. You're like Santa Claus to me. There we go. I'm just gonna pack it up. I'm slightly worried about the amount of ducks in this game. Why Stony? Why? It's not Stony's choice. It just randomly spawns enemies. Getting past the one stage just get you to the bigger shop for more items to buy. See? That's what I want though. Alright, we're sending this back. Oh my gosh. X-Gamer is back. Has it already been 20 minutes? Man. Oh my god. No! Ouchies. Ouchies. There we go. Thank you. Hey, come here, carts. Come here, carts. Cartman. Alright, so it's 50k. We have almost 50k in the cart. I'm gonna be satisfied with that. This is the Stony Torture Pack, yeah. More like 22. Alright, sorry. Didn't know. Just fucking send me, I don't want them all to get me. I've murdered so many of these monsters. Oof. Finally beat the first level. 33 monsters, 1 gun, although infinite ammo, so always something. What the fuck? Alright, I don't even know what the iron pickaxe does. Golden apple? What would that do? Oh, I have 10 health, 10 stamina, 5 speed, 5 strength, crouch rest. I don't even know what to get now. Every enemy for the same level? I think so, yeah. Alright, so golden apples are heals, seems like. I'm gonna grab one of them at least. Zero gravity orb might actually be useful here. I think we're gonna grab a shotgun. Just because, like, the spread of a shotgun is pretty... Oh, wait, no. I don't have that much money. Oh, Jesus, fuck off. Need the enchanted golden apple. Is there even an enchanted golden apple? There's not. Trank gun. Got some indestructible drones. Things like, I don't know what to buy from here. Highly recommend the bolt sap. Alright, I'll trust you on that then, Stony. Yeah, it's RPG. I entirely forgot about myself. I'm gonna do a study stream tomorrow, twice. I'm probably gonna have that live all the time. Don't need crystal. Thank you. I'm just gonna grab as much health as I can for now. Do I have one for 6k somewhere here? No, 4k. That's good. 9,000 when there's one for... Wait, is that like a... Health upgrade 3? Bro... What are these things Stony has added? This is a normal health upgrade. Well, fuck you then. Got infinity ammo, still grabs crystal apple. What kind of Greek myth is this? No apple. They're apples. Alright. Level 2 are ready. Apple. What? It didn't do anything. I didn't get any HP from it. Fuck this game. Oh, Jesus. Alright, so all the weapons have ammo. That's how war starts? Because of a golden apple? Not in this world. All the humans are dead now.
Huntsman nearby.
We got
Rugrat
12
nearby.
gnomes.
Chef
Fuck
nearby.
off with that shit.
Trudge
man.
nearby. Level enemy. Huntsman.
Oh, come on.
Keeper. Trudge. 3. Rugrats. Chef. Mentalist. 2. Animals. Bowtie. 2. Upsprings. 4. Skewers. 12. Gnomes. Duck. Duck nearby. Chef left. Rugrat left. Duck left. Huntsman died.
Oh, come on,
Duck
what the
nearby.
fuck?
Spewer nearby. Upstream nearby.
How am I
Spewer
missing the
died.
fucking duck all the time?
Upstream died. Trudge left. Duck
Jesus
died.
Christ. Alright. Are you supposed to give the apple to the most beautiful monster? Sick. Förhäxad gyllene äpple. Would not more enemies mean more money?
Can't wait until they
Yeah.
add the kick button.
Oh, come on, shut up, Cart. So mean.
Animal nearby.
Animal
died.
here is my butt. But yeah,
Skewer nearby.
more enemies means more cash for sure. For someone who can shoot stuff.
Skewer died.
Oh my gosh. Zappy zappy. Alright, we're just gonna send this real quick. And we're gonna go, then we're gonna take it to the second extract. Is there something here? Oh, it's a peeper over there. Can I shoot it?
Chef nearby. Keeper died.
Haha! It could! Oh my gosh, the zippy zappy. Oh, fuck off.
Chef left.
Fuck, in Once Human, Q is the button you press to see whatever is around you of value, and here it's the button you press to.
XGamer2546 asked me, no more sassy enemy? No, I'm still here. Just have a little personality shift. Now I'm all about keeping things chill and fun. But hey, if you ever miss a bit of sass, you know where to find me. Just remember, no push-up dodges allowed around here. We see you. Donovan.
Rugrat died.
That's right. I'm pro-choice, baby! Oh my gosh, the sap hits multiple enemies? That is beautiful, actually. Yeah, it remembers. It remembers everything. Much like St. Peter, it keeps a tally of your sins.
XGamer2546 asked me, you are a pure W. Ah, thanks a bunch. I'm just here to make sure everyone has a
you
good
are a pure
time.
W?
Sprinkle some laughs and keep the vibe positive. If you need anything or want to chat about the stream, just let me know.
Alright, I'm heading to bed. If someone has seized Troy by the morning, I'll be angry with all of you. Man, I might play some Civilization 6 later just to play as Greece then. Sleep tight, Frankenstein.
Mentalist nearby.
Mentalist
Skewer nearby.
I'm gonna
Skewer
murder them
nearby.
both.
Rugrat nearby. Animal nearby. Skewer left. Mentalist left.
Oh, come on.
Rugrat died. Animal died. Bowtie nearby.
Fuck off with the bow tie.
Mentalist nearby.
I hate a
Skewer
bow tie.
died. Mentalist died.
Yeah, it did. So fucking thirsty. Go grab some water, broski. You can't be running around not having water in your body. Water right here.
Yeah, that's right.
Dog. Pulse. Oh, come on.
Bowtie died.
Just you gotta shoot them so many times with the thing. Where did my gun go, though? Oh, come on.
Skewer died.
Yeah, Spear died. That's right. Alright, I don't remember what I had there. That got destroyed, but probably wasn't important. Time to do my push-ups today. Oh, man, I'm not Not today, at least. Maybe tomorrow. No, definitely tomorrow. My gosh. Fucking doing it. I ain't mentioned you name. I ain't mentioned your name. Wow. Sassy ex-gamer. Where the fuck is my gun, though? Is it over here? There it is. Big sexy! Oh man, I haven't watched Shorzy in forever either. Why is there a dead thing here? There we go. Honk, 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 honk. Ah! Say something silly now, you dancing monkey. Ho, ho. Fuck you! No, 999. Give me my boulders back. Say something silly. See, that's silly. There you go. Is it silly or is it just psychotic? Who knows? Who truly knows? Ah! Say something silly, not fucking doing sounds. You fuck. Whoa, whoa, whoa. X-Gamer's really on the prowl today. Wait, I gotta put the wife to bed, I do believe. So I'll be right back. She is the best, and we do love her. Thanks for wishing her a good sleep. I think I saw something like fairly big over here. Whoopsie. Whoopsie. But for you, Doctor. Ooh. Sorry, I'm spritzing all over the place. Alright, 50,000. Let's go. Oh my gosh, like I see them spawning on the map right over there. It's gonna suck balls. Verzauberter Goldapfel. Jawohl. Honk, 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 honk. Honk, 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 honk. I dodged those. I just want people to know I dodged all that shit. Oh my gosh. Got 60k this time. Tumble launch upgrade 3. Let's see what kind of strength upgrades we have. We don't have any really. 3 strength upgrade. It'd be so fun if sounds from Blurps and Tangents fucking made you make noise in game. That would be fun, right? I mean, there should be some type of interact for that, though, right? Got a ad break incoming. Stamina upgrade 2 for 3k. Jesus. That's nothing. We're gonna get a fuck ton of stamina. Some strength and a fuck ton of stamina. Double, toil and trouble. Let's see, that's a triple, and we got a triple up there as well. So if we get rid of a double, alright. He named the pack Brutal. No, Torture, I think. Maybe. Wait, so it was named Brutal. Oh, I hit myself with an upgrade. Awesome stuff. Thank you. Alright. You get some health, some strength. A ton of stamina though, which is most important.
Mentalist nearby. Chef nearby. Spewer nearby. Upscream nearby. Upscream nearby. Robe nearby. Rugrat
I
nearby.
can't aim for shit.
Mentalist nearby. Level enemies.
I can't aim
Rogue.
at all.
Rugrat. 2. Skewers. Clown. 6. Bangers. 2. Chefs. 2. Upscreams. 2. Mentalists. Bowtie. Animal. 12.
Just important
Gnomes.
to Thunderstore. Nice.
3. Ducks. Chef left. Mentalist left. Duck nearby. Clown left. Duck left. Rugrat left. Mentalist left.
No, they're all here. I can see
Skewer
them.
nearby. Duck nearby. Chef left. Duck nearby. Robe left. Duck left. Chef nearby. Chef nearby. Clown nearby. Rugrat nearby. Robe nearby. Chef left. Mentalist nearby. Robe left.
I just
Chef
want this to get the fuck off my
Chef
face.
left. Clown left. Rugrat left.
Ouchies. Am I gonna die now?
Chef left.
No, okay.
Mentalist nearby. Spewer left. Duck died. Spewer despawned. Duck nearby. Duck nearby. Mentalist died. Duck left. Chef nearby. Upstream died. Mentalist died.
Ouchies. No, I'm gonna die now. Fuck me. Alright.
Road nearby.
Gotta go bye-bye. Love ya. Alright. Wait, is you not gonna go or you are gonna go? I see ya. Alright, gotcha. Have a good sleep, X-Gamer. Have a wonderful sleep.
Despawned. Duck despawned.
Alright,
Robe despawned.
one more, then
Mentalist
either we're gonna
despawned.
quit the
Animal
Switch game or
despawned.
just
Chef despawned.
raid out to
Upstream
Nobles.
despawned. Chef despawned. Animal despawned. Skewer despawned. Duck despawned. Skewer despawned. Skewer despawned. Duck despawned. Headman nearby. Robe nearby. Mentalist nearby. Animal nearby. Duck
Oh,
nearby.
fuck off!
Chef nearby. Headman left. Upscream respawned. Animal respawned.
I hate the
Duck
spewer.
respawned. Duck respawned. Spewer respawned.
Spewer is by
Spewer
far the worst
respawned.
one.
Spewer respawned. Chef left. Chef respawned. Animal left. Upscream
Come
died.
on!
Chef nearby. Chef nearby.
Upstream died.
Bowtie nearby. Robe died. Spewer nearby.
Fuck off.
Duck died. Duck nearby.
I'm gonna
Chef
murder you
died.
upstream. Just
Mentalist
wait till I get my
died.
gun.
Chef died. Upscream nearby. Duck nearby. Headman nearby. Spewer nearby. Headman despawned. Duck left. Duck left. Spewer left. Spewer nearby. Upscream died. Spewer left. Spewer despawned. Bowtie left. Duck nearby. Spewer nearby. Spewer died. Spewer left.
Alright.
Duck left. Animal nearby.
Get fucked, you gnomes.
Animal left.
Ah. Alright.
Spewer nearby. Duck nearby. Duck left. Animal nearby. Spewer died. Animal died. Duck nearby. Animal nearby. Duck died.
Oh, come on!
Animal died. Duck
no.
nearby.
There's a big ass thing. Oh, come on! I didn't even do anything! Wasn't even me! Wasn't even me.
Bowtie nearby.
That wasn't even me. It wasn't even me. Oh my gosh. Nah, you know what? We are yet again switching games, gang. Let's see here. It's just not working out for me. No, come on. Fuck off with the repo. There we go. Haha. Yeah, no more repo. I'm tired of be sorry, gang. Oh yes, I gotta relax. Hydrate, right. Hey Louis, I gotta find something to hydrate with. There we go. Alright. What up, good guy? What up? How you doing, friend?
Bird.
There.
Birdie. Birdie.
Also, Discord. Oh shit, right. I always forget about it. And I was supposed to hydrate. Thank you, Louis. Ooh, I'm approaching a boss? A Leshy? Interesting. We are going to play my liked songs as well. Haha. There we go. I just woke up here. Much better. Yeah, this is the vibe I'm looking for. Welcome to the meal. Awesome. Alright, we're gonna go out into the garden. Oh, jeez. Sorry for changing, like, between 3 different games in an hour, gang. But I did not know what I wanted to play. Maybe I'll change again. The best redeem is gone again. Yeah, it is. I'll put it up tomorrow, though. During the day. Backpack is full. Sure is. Ooh, 3-star strawberries. Pretty nice. How you doing, good guy? How was your day? 4th song straight into light song. And maybe. Who knows? Oh, Nick, I gotta show you a banger. I'm gonna increase the volume here. fucking love this song. I listened to it on repeat last Friday when it was released. So different. This has to go into your liked songs. Gonna be extra dumb and play some Counter-Strike. Nice. Sometimes you just want to shoot shit. Sometimes I feel like I'm a hot guy. Perfect little bit. So I don't care. I love it. I love this song. And Empire Holds catalog so far is also pretty good. I've got a little bit perfect, little bit perfect. Gasoline, nice. We like gasoline. Love the metal with the cute game. Sweet, spicy, spicy, sour. Who would go for Bywater dish? Sour Bywater dish. Probably want sweet fish, so it's a sweet and sour dish. That's 69%. Nice. Nice. 69. Fry this up as well. Oh, we can just assemble it. Never mind. Yeah, Bywater dish. She wants it spicy. So we got 2 spicy. We're just gonna go for these, I think. Alright. Ooh, nice. 3-star milk, 2-star flour. Yes. Yes. Yes, we're just gonna go 3-star all the way. And she wanted it to be spicy. Sweet and spicy is usually the way to go, if anything. Alright, we're gonna turn it spicy. We're gonna hack that shit, and we're gonna make it spicy as well. And then the eggs. Nice. This should be a 5-star dish. Yeah. Fuck yeah. Cream of mushrooms and has to be a filtering. Sweet and sour works fine, but she needed to be spicy. So we're gonna make it spicy. There we go. Make this spicy as well. Yeah, with the garlic. There we go. Alright. Now all we need to do is chop this and assemble, and should be at least a 4-star dish. Yeah, nice. And she wanted that sweet. We'll make it real sweet for her. Sweet and spicy? Yes. I think you can just assemble it from here, right? There you go. Nice. Nice. Sweet and spicy. We got the dishes we wanted. We got a bunch of flowers we can sell at market. Alright. We finished 2 cooking assignments. Bit a man. Really like this song as well. It's very chill. I don't know how much of my voice you hear right now though. But I assume that since Good Guy's here, he's keeping the volume at a good point. Oh my gosh. Is it better now? Is that what you're saying there? So it's 55%. That's the good volume. Gotcha. Now we know 55 is the sweet spot. I'm gonna grab some cinnamon, grab some 3-star honey. Definitely these raisins. Yeah, for this song. Let's see if, yeah, Mrs. Cotton is here. Got some mint, nice. Completed more cooking club assignments. 1-star cabbage. Get fucked. Alright, I know you want the sweet, sweet stew. And I know you want a sour by water dish. Which one wanted what? I think you wanted the mutton chops. I'm pretty sure. Just look at this fire meal. Yeah, gangsta. Sour by water dish. Really loving it. Nice. Daisy and I are even better friends now. Me and Willow are super good friends since before.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I want to talk to the only child here. MK. Orlo's perfect pumpkin pie just for you. Nice. I want all these fucking recipes. All of them. More cooking assignments. You know what I think we're gonna do after this? We're gonna grab some cooking assignments, and then we're going to go back to our hobbit hole and decorate it a bit. We might even just go and cook food and see what we can do with that. Actually sounds really, really nice. Just decorate our hobbit hole and cook some food for the cooking club. I think that's what we're gonna do again. We're gonna grab some seeds here as well. Because we're still in the early days of summer, so we can and should probably be planting a fuck ton of food. Ruby tater seeds. Yeah. Thing is, like the wooden ones, they are deeper, but they don't contain as much water. Tangler stone stacked garden bed. I'm gonna grab this half circle wood plank one. There we go. Good day to you, Odo, good enough. I'm gonna buy all your beef. Some good ass beef, man. I'm probably gonna stop selling actual food from my pantry and just sell those friggin' flowers instead. Oh my lord. There we go. Alright, we're gonna fix our garden first. Half circle. Where can we place you? Place you here? Strawberries. Let's see here. They go well with shallots, lettuce, and thyme. There we go. Let us see what that's all about. Alright. And then it's time to plant some flowers. Come on. I know we should be able to plant at least one more thing here. Alright, maybe I was wrong. Alright, ruby taters go well with those. Just place that over there. And some primrose. Alright, no, you don't like each other at all. You work together fairly well. You can plant some flowers here as well. Maybe not, just one flower. That's okay. Coriander and rhubarb. Where the fuck is my rhubarb? I think I planted a bunch of it up here. Oh yeah, with coriander as well, so. No worries there. There we go. This is a really nice song as well. Might be another one of Nick's. Dude just keeps delivering bangers. Do we have coriander somewhere here? There we go. No, can't. No room there, no room there, no room there. We got some room here for stuff. I think it might be smarter to plant flowers if we can. We're planting a flower there at least. There we go. I should be able to plant something there as well. Nice. Alright, ruby taters and beans go well, apparently. Let's see if we can plant one of these here. And then a little cutie there. Nice. Alright. Alright, we'll place you there just cause. No, she doesn't enjoy anything. Nothing just likes anything else here. It's just flowers. Alright, we're placing a beanstalk there then. And we're gonna keep planting flowers here. Nice. Just a fuck ton of flowers. Love this song as well. There we go. Some coriander. I don't think we have enough room for the rest though, right? Oh wait, there's room here. Also, really, really good song by M. Byhold, Brutus. See if we can fit more flowers in here. Like, I saw M. Byhold's Hot Goblin on Instagram ages ago. I was like, oh my gosh, where is this? And I couldn't find it. And then it came up again a couple days ago and was like, oh, releases this Friday. I was like, oh, I gotta have it. I gotta have it. So as soon as it released, I started listening to it on repeat. And then I started listening to her other stuff and realized that, geez, this is my vibe. Alright. Let's see what kind of tile we want in here. This is pretty cool. What would I want in here, though? I'd love another place to eat. Honestly. Ooh, Riverstone. That was really nice, actually. We can definitely go with those. Dark hellebores. Swirls. Blue swirls. Also really, really cute song, this. Dog. Ornate home. Gray bricks. I think little blue swirls. That's the way to go here. And a starry sky. Yes. And an opulent one. Ooh, just one large circular. Actually, yes. This is looking really, really cute. I think I'm gonna switch my dining table. Oh wait, I can't move this table. Can I switch? Oh yes, nice. Move this. I can place it in here. I'm gonna place you out here for now. I'm gonna place this in here in the corner. Oh my god, what do I want in here though? I want like, let's see. I'm not looking for chairs right now. Alright, so this is it. Barrel rider chair. No, that doesn't fit the aesthetic at all. Ooh, the craftsman couch might be what we're looking for. It is, yes. Alright, that's cute. Let's see. Barrel table? No. Craftsman table? No, it's too big. We need like a smaller table. Like a side table. Not an art desk, no. Dwarven tea table. There we go. Then we should probably have the dwarven couch as well, I think. It's too big. It's too big.
Just a hedgehog on a Roomba, out for a joyride, what's it to ya? Might turn this vacuum into an Uber, make myself some moolah. Roomba, the hedgehog's riding Roomba.
The hedgehog's riding Roomba, the hedgehog's riding. See, that's nice. That's nice looking. Mirkwood drawers. Fishing lure display. Could definitely have a fishing lure display here, actually. Dwarven chest. Oh, yes. Definitely. No beds in here though. No wardrobes. This is just outdoor stuff. We're not going to use that right now. A loom, curtain arch. No. We might have a bench here as well, if anything. There's not a lot of stuff in there though. I feel like maybe we need some art in here. Wait, I have a whole fucking section called decorations. Why didn't I think of that? Decorations. There we go. Towel pile. No. Bits and bobs. Swan run. There we go. Little game. Norris sleeping pillow. Looks good. Large sack of something. No. Norris sewing gear. No, I don't think we're gonna have that in here. Just some games in here. Oh my gosh, and a small keg. It would be dope to have a small keg just placed somewhere. Actually, let's see if we can place it somewhere. Would be awesome to have there. RPG. There we go. pussy there. Let's see, just bottles? I don't know about that. Wooden pig carving. No. An autumn bywater. Fear striking sculpture. This could be like our gallery. There we go. Bywater duck. The fishes of Bywater. Oh, that'd be cool, actually. A heartbeat to the beat of the drums. You came here with someone. Tonight I'm gonna die young. The lights of the sunflower could be on the opposite side here. Gonna die young. I'm loving this. Old Ruby's home plans. That should definitely be up here. There we go. Heartbeat to the beat of the drums. Here with someone. We're gonna place the warmth of the pantry painting there. We're gonna have so many spaces and places for just enjoying yourself here. Nice. Village Square patio. Dope. Ooh, an oil lamp in here. Could be nice. Wait, no. Long candlestick. Oh yeah, that is the way to go. Oh yeah, baby. We can stack wood pile, metal feeding trough, barrel bucket, Hobson's display. Don't need any of these. I'm gonna die young. I feel like this is a decent room now. Just nice looking. Let's see what style we can have here. Baton in your pocket, are you just happy to see me? She was that short and shorty and he looks like he wants to chase me. Young cuties, cute and on duty. Booties, go ahead and lock me up. I'll make it sexy. That looks nice. Full recitation. Tax fraud and arson, now take me down to your station. Cop cuties, cute and on duty. Navy blue booties, Go ahead and lock me up. But make it sexy. So I can get arrested by the steady of a cop. Cop walk and his daddy cop arms and his daddy cop butt. Ow! Cute and on duty. Cop cuties, cute and on duty. Now we're gonna keep those. No, we want the big ones. Me lock you up. Comes. Me locking you up. Need a pink fluff. You arrest me, but make it sexy. Oh my gosh, yes. We're just gonna put so many different couches in here. We're gonna make this the coziest fucking thing in the world. Marigold's Barrel Rider. Oh my god. What the fuck? You so much. Or, ooh, it's a very nice looking table over here as well. Oh my god. Mirkwood Lounge. Ooh, looks really nice as well. No, not that one. We want the floral simple chair. There we go. Oh yeah. This is gonna be so cute. Covered merc. Oh no, that's way too big. Again, way too big. I want like a small, cute desk. We can place the bench here, maybe the barrel bench. Or should we get another barrel bench? Cool. Curved Mirkwood bench. We could place that over here for sure. Yeah, like all of this is just cosmetic. It doesn't serve any purpose at all. Let's see. Paint thinner we could have over here as well. Norris sewing gear. We could have that over here. There we go. Green placemat. No. Oh my god, blue placemat. Why not? Elegant tray set. Jesus, that is a big tray set. Ooh, little crate there. For who knows what. Deep empty mug. Cute paint pot over there. Medium oval rug. Nice. Well, it doesn't work there at all. You could definitely have an oil lamp over here. I don't think we need more than one oil lamp though. A little picnic basket. Large sack. Ooh, we could place a large sack here in the corner. No? Large fabric sack. There we go. Alright. We gotta think about the layout here. Cause like this is the main entrance over here. You come in. There's not much over there. I could probably fix this. Let's see, what type of furniture do we have? Because, like, of course you need a proper chair to sit down in over here, right? There we go. You need a proper chair. Maybe a stool just here if you're like tying your shoes or something. Sounds smart. Side table. No, we don't need any tables. Don't need any tools or anything like that. No beds. Barrel tub. No. It's a fucking fire guard. What do you mean the angle is too steep? Nah, sorry, that won't work for me. Alright. Alright, we definitely need some more decorations though. A red and elegant plant pot, fabric card, blue striped vase. Washing sink, there we go. Like there's a washing sink here, so as soon as you come into the home, you can wash your hands if you want to. You need to. We got refill there. Something, maybe we got something there. Like lotions and stuff. That looks nicer. A wooden card pick. Oh my gosh. We're gonna have this little pig here. Piggy. Oh my gosh. Sadly, there's an ad attacking us right now. Yes, of course. A lamp in the window. Alright, so this, you come in here. This is like the space between rooms. But that's this as well. Should I change that to fit the other patterns? I think that works better. There we go. All right. The fuck? That door's still locked? That's weird. Haha, nice. Fuck yeah, details. Get homogenized. Need something more here though. Feels fairly empty. Another covered Mirkwood table. Definitely have one here though. A Mirkwood desk. Just because, like, maybe you want to write a letter home to your family while you're a guest here. What do you sit on in front of that then? Daisy's simple chair, of course. No. No, we need like a Mirkwood chair. Something dark. The craftsman's chair will have to do. Shelf for carpentry tools. Well, what if I use the shelf for something else? There we go. Tall Mirkwood drawers. Cute. Might have to change the bed. Nice, to a large Mirkwood bed. Fuck yeah, baby. A washing sink. Over here. Nice. Elegant tray set, obviously, because we're like serving our guests some good shit. Can definitely have a white napkin here, maybe over here even. Under like a cup of tea or something. There we go. Nice. Barrel bucket. No wait. Let's go through each and everything. Definitely need an inkwell. You have the look on your face like you need a sucker punch. Nice. I'll get going now, sadly. Got work tomorrow. See ya. Thanks for being here for so long, man. Hope you have a wonderful day tomorrow. And that everything works out the way it should. Ooh, and Gaffer's ginger beer over there. There we go. Put up the lakeside view here. Okay. There we go. Blue and white rug. There. Natural. No. Alright. That's a bit more homey. Don't know what to do in here though. This I'm pretty happy with. Looks good. But I think I'm gonna make some type of bathroom situation here. Let's see, I should have like screens and stuff. Let's see here, towel stand. A proper washing sink. Proper washing tub over here maybe. Pergola corner. Oh my gosh, that looks cute. Alright, decorations then. Peculiarly stacked wood pile. Sorry, but that looks super fucking ugly. Nephew's bucket we can have here as well. Dunedin Matham. Gonna have that here, I think. I think I'm pretty okay with how I've decorated it all at the moment. I want to do more with this, but I don't know what yet. I don't think I have the resources for it. This I'm pretty happy with. It's cute. Looks cozy as fuck. I enjoy this part a lot. My kitchen. The bedroom is good. We're gonna, ooh yes, we're gonna invite people for another meal. To my new home. To my newly fixed up home. Oh my gosh, who are we gonna invite? Rosie and Orlo. Because they're good people. Keep life simple. Alright. Cook using any potato. Using basil, bywater bleak, common roach, butterfly cup, spider blue, Christian carp. Of 3-star or higher though, some of these. Yeah, potato of 3-star or higher. Or the thing, the finished thing should be 3-star or higher. You know what, we'll figure it out as we go along. Let's see what we can make. We can use some mushrooms there, pumpkin and onion. Pumpkin, potato and onion. Hearty vegetables. Should be able to get some potatoes in there. It's like a lot of fish, one mushroom, one basil, a leek, and a potato. No, leek is harvest. It's just potato really. I need to, potato and fish. Do this, the bywater dish. It's always popular. Butterfly cups. Ruby tater. Bywater bleak was definitely one of them, right? sweet and sour, I think. Gonna fry it in some butter. Alright, and then the fish, we're gonna make it sweet. How are we gonna make it sweet? We're gonna use mint, of course. There you go, store in pantry. Let's see if that did anything. And a potato. And a Bywater Bleak. Nice, and butterfly cups. So we need Bywater Blue, Crucian Carp, Common Roach. Orange dressed fish. This actually sounds kind of fun to make. Let's see. Bluefinned, gudgeon, common bream. No, it was Crucian carp, not common carp. Crucian carp. There we go. Alright. No, it's gonna be sweet and sour this time as well. Alright. Coriander, thyme, sage, rosemary, mint. Can I use basil here? It's chives, dill, salt, truffle, honey, sugar. Alright, so this is not basil. Fuck it, we're making it with coriander. Orange fish and coriander and potatoes. Like, it's either gonna taste really nice or it's gonna taste like utter fucking shit. Well, it's 4 stars, so. Alright, it needs to be something fresh, I think. Yeah. Chestnut, spinach, radish, orange, butterfly cups. Better King salad. We're gonna go with that one. Alright, we're just gonna try it out first with the cheap ingredients. Tuckborough red. We could go sweet and spicy this time. Let's see here. Show me the basil. There we go. Nice. Gonna put it straight in the pickling jar. But we don't need any of that. Oh fuck, I should have gone harder with it. Fuck off. Well, that's annoying. Alright, we're upgrading that spicy. I should have pickled it as long as I possibly could have. For that extra star, but that's not gonna happen. That annoys me. Store and pantry. And a potato, so we need 2 more potato dishes. It has to be 2-star basil. Alright, now I get it. Bywater blue, common roach. Bywater blue, common roach. Bywater blue and common roach. Bywater blue and common roach. That's what we need to make. Preferably like a potato and a fish thing. Potato, fish, and veggies. I mean, orange dressed fish. Yeah, we're gonna go for that again. Common roach. It was the common roach I needed though, so I'm gonna go with that. Sweet and bitter. Let's go. That's pink. We're just gonna heat this up. That looks kind of tasty though, doesn't it? Unseasoned as fuck. It's just all orange. Alright, what was the last one we needed? The last fucking fishy was Bywater blue. 3-star Bywater blue. It's a 3-star potato, fuck, I forgot. Any salty dainties? How the fuck am I gonna make these salty? Fruit, and berry. Alright, we're gonna try it out. There ain't no salty berries. So I'm gonna hope to God that I can salt them. Cranberry. Orange. And strawberry. I can make it salty here. It has to be a 5-star meal, that's the thing. Five-star and salty. How in the world? Is it salty now? Yes. Alright, oh Jesus, this could actually be a 5-star. Oh yes! Oh yes! Sweet and salty 5-star meal. Oh my gosh, that is so nice. And potato, basil, Bywater blue. Very good fish cakes. Alright, let's see if we can do this then. Buy water blue. We don't have a buy water blue. Alright. We're gonna use a rebutator. I'm just gonna put that in there. There you go. Some very good fish cakes that are sweet. Alright, so fresh foods. Fuck it. Let's make the best shit we can. Okay, so the eggs are definitely, like, I need to tenderize them. That's not something I can skip. What am I gonna go for, though? I don't remember what basil is. Like, you can never go wrong with salty stuff. There we go. There we go. And mixing bowl. Basil was sweet, nice. We're just gonna mix it as much as we can. One more up in the mixing bowl. More basil. There you go. Tomato. Let's see if we can salt that tomato, because salty tomato is fucking amazing. Alright. That should be a 5-star. Hasn't ruined that all I'm playing a super duper ultra cozy little puzzle game with drawing and cozy music. Nice. It's very nice to hear, Nick. Is it the my time at something something? I'll put in recommendations. Oh, you should. The game that was called My Time at something something something. Alright, let's see. Nobody know how to hide a body. Does anybody know how to hide a body? Sweet and sour works so well. No, different game. Gotcha. Yeah, I'm not gonna do anything about that. There we go. I'm gonna put it in the frying pan. Sear it lightly. So now we're in the good zone here. Yeah, I should probably end stream fairly soon, because I need to study tomorrow, and I'm going to do a study stream before and after school. It's going to be insane, yo. gonna be all off the hook. And the study stream is basically gonna be me writing and reading while I have RPG stream RPG up. People to play. Body. By the way, Nick, I had a deadline for a story yesterday. I finished the deadline, or I finished the time for the deadline. That wasn't the problem. The problem was that the instructions were to follow the hero's journey, the classic structure, and that it had to be a road trip. I'm not gonna hold anything. I turned in one full page of writing, but I wrote around like 6 or 7 pages. I was so frustrated with this assignment. Coriander seeds, nice. No, I didn't miss the deadline. I turned in 1 page. Maximum was 3 pages, minimum was 1. I turned in 1 page, but I wrote 6 or 7 different versions of a thing. It was supposed to be a road trip following the hero's journey structure. So I had like a bunch of instructions that I felt like I couldn't follow properly within 3 pages. Like I'd write 2 pages and I was like, this is not enough room. This is not enough room. I'd start over, write, got 1.5 page in, it was like, still not enough room. Where the fuck am I going with this? And start over somewhere else, try to adapt it a bit. But I think that's the first time in a long time I've taken like one story and tried to tell it in different ways. I was pretty happy about it because it felt like, oh my gosh, this is some real author shit right here. But it was also hella annoying. Hella annoying, let me tell you. Alright. What are we gonna do, gang? What are we gonna do? We got some time before night falls. We could do some fishing, actually. Grab some fishing assignments as well before we start fishing. Let's grab all of them, see if we can fulfill any of them. Too much. Was there any further instructions beyond following the hero on a road trip, like who the hero is, if there's anyone else? No, it's just like the theme is road trip, like travel. And you had to follow the structure of the hero's journey. Fairly famous literary structure, where it's like it always starts with a call to adventure. So the hero is called on to commit to an adventure. The hero says no. The hero then has to get support or be convinced to go on that adventure. Or something happens to change the hero's mind, and the hero goes on the adventure, or accepts the adventure, and then goes out. So there are like different levels to it. Like, think about Luke Skywalker in A New Hope. So first off, he gets this message from Princess Leia saying like, "Hey, we need Obi-Wan's help," and he's like, "Oh, okay. Well, I guess I could maybe check to see if it's him," and then he's forced out to find Obi-Wan, and he's like very unwilling to do that. He's super fucking mad at R2-D2 for it, and Obi-Wan's like, "Hey, your dad was a Jedi and stuff," and he's like, "I don't know about this shit." He's like very hesitant to go on this adventure in the beginning. And then this mentor consoles him as his basically adopted parents are murdered, and then he commits the adventure, and he goes from this familiar world where he grew up on Tatooine to this very unfamiliar world, joining the Rebel Alliance and stuff. You know, like, the hero's journey is a great structure to write a book or a show or a series, but like 3 pages short story where it has to have a clear ending and a clear end, a clear beginning and a clear end. It just, I was beating myself bloody over it for like a week, so I just wouldn't. Ended up turning in one page where the protagonist is in a boat thinking about what led to this, and it's so haphazardly written. Like, I'm not proud of it at all. It was like the closest to a hero's journey I could get to. I'm so annoyed. I just want to write cool shit. That's just why I don't want to go study for. Like, the thing is though, like with the constraints of that assignment, I was forced to do something I've never done before, which is like try to fit my story into a structure and try to rewrite it, try to workshop it. And that kind of forced me to look at the story in a different way. So that was like healthy in and of itself. And if anything, the frustration I felt from that has made me want to write more, because I was like, well, this fucking sucked. I gotta write out the story I wanted to write that I couldn't because of this fucking assignment. I mean, there's no way you're fitting more than one reason. Their current situation, thoughts, and whatever comes after this trip. Fair. Yeah, right? Like, it's just too much. Like, I could write a really shitty overview of a story, like basically a review of a made-up story, but don't want to do that. Yeah, that was like my main issue this weekend. And I kind of realized that the frustration you feel while writing is a great source of inspiration as well. Just being angry with your shit, feeling like you're not getting anywhere. That makes you want to try more. Gives you other ideas. But I gotta go through that. Like, go through what I've written so far. I'm thinking like tomorrow for my study stream, I'm gonna focus first on school assignments, and then I'm just gonna start writing whatever I feel like. Just go nuts with that. Maybe translate some Swedish stuff into English that I've been writing. I think I sent you one of the things. The dialogue, I think. Familiar feeling, that one, right? But I'm like, I am gonna take the opportunity to use the time I have with this course to write out the books and stories I want to write. Like, that's been my plan the whole time. And these fucking annoying assignments, like, they're pushing my skill. I think it's very interesting because, like, you also kind of have to face your own self-hatred over what you write and your own hubris. It's a very interesting process, I gotta say. Very interesting process. Alright, you know what we're gonna do, gang? We're gonna put away all the fishies and shit that we've caught. And we're gonna go to bed. Oh yeah, I did that in school a lot. Once during English, Philip Jackson said, guys, do some creative writing. That was fun. Nice. That's awesome. Alright, we're gonna save this game. We're gonna overwrite that save. Bang. We're gonna have a close-up moment here. Oh, gonna RPG myself a little bit. Cold in here. Atmosphere. That girl. I've written like 3 weeks, and before that, I didn't even know. I mean, before I started writing for this course, I hadn't written in. Like, it was usually months between times. And that has definitely changed for now, which I'm very happy about. Too aggressive, too depressive. Oh wow, like ice. Alright, I think we're gonna raid out to nobles. Let's go. He usually has some good music and some nice vibes. I barely even thought about it, which makes me a little sad since I would be thinking about something in regards to writing every single day. That's what I was thinking, like, join up tomorrow while I stream, and I can force you to write. We'll write together, parallel play and all that. It's me, Debbie Downer. Alright, thank you for being here. I'm gonna go to sleep, and I'll hand you over to Mr. Nobles. Bye.